Okay, hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mrs. Leeson, and I'm looking at 4.1c lesson, Create Equations for Word Problems and Solve. This is the first time we're going to be working with word problems with equations, and we've got some really important things to review. So I'm going to strongly recommend that you watch this video at home before you do your homework, because you don't have me there actually asking you questions. Two big goals here: understand how to write let statements using one variable, and understand how to write an equation from a word problem. All right, so the directions here say for each, determine which of the equations will work to answer the question. Explain your reasoning. I'm going to revise that slightly. Number one, Brielle has 5 more cats than Annie. If Brielle has 8 cats, how many does Annie have? So I've circled how many does Annie have because that's our question. And the question is asking us what we don't know. This is what we call our unknown. So please write unknown here. The unknown is the thing that we're trying to find. In the table now, it says what is the unknown or variable? And you can see it starts with what's called a let statement. Here we have let A equal, and that's going to be our unknown, and that's how many cats Brielle has. We're starting with very easy problems that you know the answer to, so that you can do this and understand it as they get more complex. So this is called a let statement. Please write let statement. And a let statement starts with a capital L, let, your variable, which usually is x, equal. Do not say let A be, let A represent. This is a mathematical equation. All right, so if I look down at these equations, letter A, 8 equals 5 plus A. Remember, all of these values have units that are attached. So this isn't just 8, this is 8 cats. The equal sign is the word is 5 cats, plus, I should write it the word there, excuse me, plus, and plus, A represents how many cats Brielle has, so that's what we're going to write. 8 cats is 5 cats plus how many cats Brielle has. And that makes sense. This will work. All right, now look at the other 3 equations here, B, C, and D. And I want you to write, do they work or do they not work as fast as you can. So just write yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, and put your pencil down. Remember, I've got a 15-minute limit here, so you hurry up. Okay, you can see here that none of these work. And the reason none of these work is that they've taken the terms 8, 5, and A and juggled them around. So 5 equals 8 plus A. This is 5 cats equals 8 cats plus A. So A would be -3 cats. And there is no such thing. And I'm just talking now. You don't need to write all of this down. In letter C, 8 equals 5A. I want you to think, what would A have to be in order for this equation to be true? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A would have to be 8/5 cats. Yes, that's 1 3/5 of it. Is that right? Yes, 1 3/5 of a cat. Don't want to talk about what happened to that poor cat. And for letter D, A would have to be 5/8 of a cat. Yes, a little more than half of a cat. So these equations make no sense. The point I'm trying to get across to you is that these are units and it has to represent the problem. All right, we're just going to talk here so you don't have to write, just pay attention. Number 2, Jim bought a tie for X dollars and a jacket for $37.50. Jack bought the same item as Jim. Together they spent $80. How much did each tie cost? Please underline, together they spent $80. And circle, how much did each tie cost? The unknown is how much each tie costs. So we're going to say let X equal how much each tie costs. You can't say let X equal a tie, because it doesn't. You can't say cost. Cost of what? You have to be specific. Notice I put comma and the units, dollars. That's a really good habit to put the units because sometimes it's cents, sometimes it's dollars, sometimes it's pesos, sometimes it's feet, sometimes it's inches, and you have to pay attention. All right, of these 4 equations, please X out the ones that don't say they spent $80. X out the ones that don't say they spent $80. And circle the ones that say they do. All right, the only one that doesn't say they spent $80 is D. The rest of them say they do. Now X out any ones that don't work. And I'm going to pause the video while you consider these and write yes, yes, no, 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 whatever you need to do. Yes or no is all we're going to write. Okay, here every single one of these works. It's just a different representation of the order in which they went to the register, right? And obviously the most sophisticated one is the one that involves distributing. But that's really all I need to talk about on these problems. All right, when you turn the page, I'm going to skip this one in the interest of time, and I'm going to focus with you on problems like number 4. So I'm going to read these directions and tell you what they mean. First of all, it says define each variable. Would you please circle that instruction? Define each variable means write a let statement. So when you're asked to do that, you're going to write let x equal, etc. Write and solve an algebraic equation. That's an equation not just that has an integer, a variable. An algebraic equation is one where you have to use the equality properties. Do the same thing on the left as you do on the right. Write your answer in a complete sentence. So let's take a look at the first one. Separate a 46-inch ribbon into 2 parts so that one part is one more than twice as much as the first part. Find each part. Excuse that scribble. All right, read that over again to yourself while I make a model of the ribbon. Read that over again to yourself. Okay, here's my ribbon. It's 46 inches long. I'm going to cut it into 2 parts. I'm going to use a slanted line so I'm not implying that it's cut in half. It's 2 parts. How long is the first part? We don't know, so we're going to call it x. And I'm going to write my first let statement. Let x equal the first part. Now reading carefully, one part is one more than twice as much as the first. That means that the second part, which is my second unknown, I have 2 unknowns, only one variable. Listen to that again. 2 unknowns, only one variable. The second one is 2x plus 1, twice as much as the first part, plus 1. Notice the structure that I have here, where I have this vertical line splitting the workspace into 2, and then the horizontal line in basically a 2/3, 1/3 ratio. I want you to use this structure, please. Now when I put these 2 parts back together, oops, I didn't write this, 2x plus 1 in my let statement. When I put these 2 parts back together, I'm going to write my equation like this. X plus parentheses 2x plus 1 equals 46. And that parenthesis makes it easy for me to see that I've got 2 parts here. My next step is to combine like terms. 3x plus 1 equals 46. And you know how to solve this problem. So I'm just going to say, through the magic of math, x equals 15. You can't say through the magic of math. You actually have to solve it. But you know how to solve. That's what you're good at. So if that's what you're good at, I'm not going to spend time on that. All right, we found x. X is 15. Now we need to substitute in 15 into our second let statement. 2x plus 1 is 2 times 15 plus 1, which is 31. And I've now found my 2 parts. I'm ready to put that into an equation, into a sentence, excuse me. And here we go. Therefore, one part is 15 inches, putting my units in my sentence, and the other, or the second, however you want to say it, is 31 inches. So I'm going to ask you to pause. I'm going to ask the teacher to pause the video. You catch up with anything that you haven't written down for number 4, and then on your own, without talking, please solve number 5. Start the video over when everyone's done. Okay, please pause the video now. Okay, so I hope that you got that the first part was 27 and the second part was 50. And 77 is just a number. You're going to need to look at the work on my lesson online to make sure you're getting it right. We do not have time for you to copy down any incorrect work. All right, turn to the next page. I'm going to do one more with you, and then I'm going to ask you to just write let statements. See if you can come up with let statements and equations for the others. I have 4 minutes left. Number 6, there were 132 marbles piled up in the grass. They were divided among 3 people so that the second person received 5 less than 3 times the first, and the third received 2 more than the second. How many marbles did each person have? So I'm going to say let X equal the first person's. The second person, 5 less than 3 times the first. 5 less than 3 times the first. And I'm going to use ditto marks to be lazy and efficient. The third person, here's my ditto marks in use, received 2 more than the second. Now don't try to do this all in your head, you will make a mistake. The second received 3x minus 5, add 2 to that. Now you can simplify if you like. This is 3x minus 3, and I'm ready to write my equation. Pause the video if you need to. All right, here goes my equation. The first excuse me, I want to be writing this in blue. So x is the first person, 3x minus 5 is the second person, 3x minus 3 is the third person. When you put all of their marbles together, they have 132 marbles. Now I'm going to combine like terms. So watch this first, and then you can solve it on your own. 7x minus 8 equals 132. Add 8 to each side. Please forgive me because I'm writing in 2 different colors. This is how I have to do it. 7x minus 8 plus 8 equals 132 plus 8. 7x equals 140. Multiply each side by 1/7. Second term in parentheses. Die, simplify, x equals 20. Then I'm going to substitute into my other let statements, and I'm going to need more room. And by the way, if you write large, now is the time to write smaller. These problems are getting complicated. 3x minus 5 is 3 times 20 minus 5. 60 minus 5 is 55 is the second person's number of marbles. And 3x minus 3, 3 times 20 minus 3, 60 minus 3 is 57. So I'm ready to write my sentence. The first person had 20 marbles. I don't need to repeat the word marbles anymore. The second had 55, and the third had 57. Pause the video to catch up with that writing, please. Okay, if there's time left, you're going to be writing let statements and equations only for number 7 and 8. Please use the structure with the vertical and horizontal lines. And you must stop the quiz at 11:20. Sorry, you must stop this work at 11:20 so that you have time to do the quiz. Okay, 11:20 is your deadline. It is your turn to work with your shoulder partners. You're going to need them to write let statements and equations only. No solving for number 7 and 8. Please pause the video. I'll have not very much time, 20 seconds when you come back. Okay, so I don't have a lot of time. I'm just going to put these answers up for you to copy, and I'm going to encourage you, require you to refer to my lesson online to do your homework. All right, thanks guys. Good luck on your quiz.